Alright mate, Slimy here, welcome back to some more Final Fantasy IV Pixel Remaster. Now, just a couple of seconds ago you've probably seen a bit of like a montage or something. And I did say I wanted to do a bit grinding. May have got a bit carried away. Alright, I said I'd do it and now I'm finally doing it. Bestiary time. First up, Revenant. It's weak to fire and also hold. It's just kind of an upgraded zombie. Then we've also got the Ghoul, which is just also another upgraded zombie. Again, weak to fire and also holy. Then there's the upgraded Spirit, which is the Soul, which not only can it cast fire, but it can also absorb fire, so you might want to watch out for that. And the last enemy that's unique to this area is the Lilith. The Lilith is weak to fire, but can use Slap, which can inflict either paralyze, curse, or silence. But killing her will sometimes drop a silver apple, so it's all worth it. But in the upper area of the Mysidia area of the map, there is what's called the Peninsula of Power. And that's kind of I guess the easiest way to put it is kind of like an oversight of sorts. I don't know if it actually is an oversight at this point, because it's been added and removed from so many games at this point that I don't know if you can really call it an oversight anymore, but the general idea of it is with the Peninsula of Power, is that there's an area of the world map where enemies are a lot stronger than they're kind of intended to be. And basically you can take advantage of that by level grinding really fast there. Now you notice that I actually didn't put the optimal level grind thing in there. And that's because kind of I wanted to just do the average Final Fantasy experience that can be like experienced with any version of this game. But the funniest part about the whole Peninsula of Power thing is that, if you remember correctly, the DS version of the game doesn't actually have, well, most of it. I think there's only 2 titles in the DS version of the game that actually has it. But we should actually be well equipped now to actually climb Mount Ordeals. Maybe a little overpowered, but it doesn't really matter too much. I mean, there's a reason why I'm saying that. Also, I like how much Teller's been getting Tornado, because for the people who don't know, Tornado is actually a spell that reduces enemies' HP to single digits. It's genuinely really good, but typically it costs a lot of MP to actually use. Oh, and it's actually worth mentioning that the enemy at the back, the Lilith, actually has a chance of dropping a silver apple, I believe. But there's also, I think, a weapon that she can drop that is only usable by Edward, and I'm going to quickly spoil this now because it doesn't really matter too much. Edward doesn't come back, so there's completely no reason to use it. But yeah, the Peninsula of Power and that it's actually something that basically every single version of not just Final Fantasy IV, well, not every single version, but most of the versions of Final Fantasy IV, but also most of the versions of Final Fantasy I, most of the versions of Final Fantasy II, most of the versions of Final Fantasy III, most versions of 5 and 6 have some kind of thing to do with Peninsula of Power. And it all comes down to how the actual tile system works in the game. Because enemies are these have almost spawn areas of where the game tells them, oh, you can spawn this enemy in this area. But sometimes they'll overlap in certain areas of the map with earlier areas, resulting in basically you being able to encounter enemies that are much later in the game, much earlier than you should do. But anyway, we're about to get interrupted by Scarmiglione, if I'm actually pronouncing his name right. And I'm just going to straight away try to burn all these zombies. I'm going to twin cast with these, and I'm just going to hit the guy in the back. I don't know if we genuinely have over-leveled too much for this, but I don't know, it's kind of worth. I was gonna say it's kind of worse, but no, it's kind of worth getting a bit of extra levels, because I'm gonna spoil it now. This boss fight can be a bit brutal at times, and we're just gonna immediately just blow up all them zombies, just disintegrate them all instantly. I'm gonna stab him again. He's just going to keep casting, and that's not really too much of an issue. We're just going to keep burning the guy. In fact, you use Cry, you use Bluff, and you just stab the guy. And then tell her, why don't you cure them kids? One of the reasons why I actually wanted to grind is because the kids are like notoriously squishy. Typically children don't do too well with having large space rocks dropped on them, so... And you can use Cure on Dinget, and you can use Fire Up. You also use Fire Up. Burn this guy. Cecil, you're up. Just run up and stab the guy in the face, and hopefully we'll be done with this. Or maybe not. And you're probably wondering, well, Slime, I thought you said this was a relatively tough fight. And well, it is. Sort of. I'm actually going to start using some of them high potions that I brought with me. Because, well, Scarmiglione isn't quite dead. And he's immediately going to back attack us. So, yeah. This is the tough part of the fight. Now, Scarmiglione is the Fiend of Earth, and he kind of works with all the undead and that. We're going to swap these guys around. We're immediately going to set up a Cry. We're going to use Esna on Porum. We're going to Bluff. We're just going to attack with Cecil. And Cecil probably won't do too much. I was going to say to the twins, but no to Scarmiglione. And with the twins, we're going to twin cast. And right now, in fact, I'm being a bit hesitant there, but that did a lot of damage, that. But yeah, Scarmiglione is going to kind of give us every single status. So we kind of have to be careful of that. Twins, you twin cast. We could cure what's it called, Scarmiglione, because he's undead. Or we could just blow him up as well, which is really effective. As if this guy was a really hard fight, but I think the grinding and the fact that undead is actually weak to fire kind of helped out with that. But yeah, the four fiends, or the four arch-fiends and that, or arch-fiends, while Scarmiglione stumbles off of the side of a cliff and dies again, I'm assuming again because he is undead, we should probably heal up actually. And that used all of Teller's MP, so we'll use forums. For Archfiends, there's actually several groups of 4 Archfiends. In Final Fantasy 1, there were actually Lich, Marilith, Kraken, and Tiamat. Whereas this game has a different set of them. But right now, it seems like someone's beckoning Cecil to go into this little chamber. Long have I awaited you, and much sorrow have I endured. I shall now entrust you with my strength. In doing so, my pain will only grow, but there is no other way. And with that, Cecil has actually become a paladin. Break from your past and overcome the darkness. Only then will you be able to receive the holy power. You must defeat the dark knight within you. And we're now getting into a literal mirror match. Kind of. I'm not gonna attack. Because, in actuality, this is a test. And the whole point of it, well, the whole point of it, is to actually kind of test Cecil's resolve. So, we didn't even need to attack there, it was kind of a waiting game. We've done well. Now my spirit will become light, and the light will become your strength. With it, you must stop Golbez, or golf ball. Farewell, my son. Now, whenever I first played through this, part of the finger of the game, this really, really confused me. I had no clue what was going on. But something revealed later on in the game, which is kind of a massive twist, which I don't want to spoil, because it is actually a really interesting twist, will actually reveal what was going on there. Cecil's kind of overwhelmed, and Teller has remembered all of his spells, which is actually pretty good. And Teller finally learnt Meteor. Imagine how great that would be to just like walk into a cool room with a lot of mirrors, and then all of a sudden you just gain ultimate knowledge of everything you want to know. That would actually be really good for like learning how to draw, and that just walking in like, bam, I know everything. It would be good for just learning just about anything, but I mean, I kind of want to learn how to draw better, so... Cecil's kind of baffled as to why the light called him his son, and he's kind of dwelling on that. However, we've got some more interesting things to cover now. Cecil's become a paladin, and what that means is Cecil no longer has the ability of darkness. Cecil is also now level 1. But that's not too much of an issue, because Mount Ordeals, with it being filled with the undead, paladins are actually kind of light elemental, and as a result, even though he's level 1, he's insanely strong for being level 1. Teller has also lost Recall, because he no longer needs to use it. But that's not really too much of an issue, because now he's kind of gained access to all of his spells, and the two twins are just going to blow these guys up anyway, so... With that, Cecil has now actually leveled up all the way to level 8, and Cecil has actually learnt Sight and Scan, which is another thing that I didn't mention about Paladins. But Paladins also learn some white magic, which is pretty neat, so Cecil can actually work as a backup white mage if you want. Now there is a kind of a twist to that, is that Paladins can't learn the highest level white magic, but they can still learn stuff like Cure and Cure and stuff like that. There's also cover, which is another thing that he gets access to. And what cover does is it basically allows him to block an enemy attack from, you know, hitting another ally. So it can be quite useful at times. I just went up to level 9. Now the good thing about this is that Cecil being, well, a paladin makes him very resistant to, well, with the armor set and that he's got, very resistant to stuff that would just outright kill him at lower levels. And the natural HP bulk is going to also help with that. So you're not really going to have a problem coming down the mountain. However, in the DS version you can still kind of get one shot, so watch out for that. Also, these spirit guys here can actually absorb your fire attacks, so be aware of that. Hopefully I said that in the bestiary. I think I put it down for the notes for the bestiary, because that's one thing that I am going to just quickly say, but I actually have to make notes of everything I want to say in the bestiary. I've got a little file on the computer that just like says, you know, what enemies are weak to and that, and some of the interesting drops. Now, I could actually cover another area with the bestiary in that, which is that area that I actually did the quick grind session in. I'm not going to do that, simply because they are like enemies from later on in the game, and I'll probably just cover them when I get to that part in the game. Because it's maybe, judging from how we're going through these episodes and that, they're like maybe about 6 or 7 episodes away from now, so I wouldn't worry myself about doing that. But as you can see, like, Cecil is really flying up the levels now. We're almost at the bottom, so there's not really too much of a worry. Teller might end up getting killed here, but again, we can just like brute force our way through this with Cecil and that, so it's not too much of an issue. Or we can just blow the skeleton up with the twins, just like annihilate that guy. Now I think we're just going to quickly heal up and then trek on over to Mysidia. Now there's something that's worth mentioning that I really should have mentioned before. But the Dark Knight equipment that we got for Cecil doesn't work with what's it called? With Paladin Cecil. Because he has ultimately changed the class. It's kind of confusing knowing that Cecil has completely forgot how to use his Dark Knight like abilities and that, but considering his damage output at like level 11, he's like pretty much on par with what he was at level 20 odd. It's not really too much of an issue, and plus I mean, you're seeing how much his HP is at now. He's at 800 HP, and then before he even promoted to Paladin, promoting like he's a Fire Emblem character. Very strange to make Fire Emblem jokes, even though I've never played a single Fire Emblem game. But yeah, when we actually get into Mysidia, I think there is some items in the Mysidia shops that we can actually buy that will work with Cecil now. That'd be something worth checking out. That's why I didn't buy him beforehand. If I remember correctly, anyway. I know there's a few weapons that in this version of the game actually work with Cecil but don't in the DS version. Like, I think you can use bow and arrows in this version. I could be wrong. But it is taking us a few minutes to get over there. Mainly because the high enemy encounter rate. Could be worse, it could be the ocean from Final Fantasy 1. That's something that I actually did, you know, like between recording sessions of, I think the last episode in this one, I actually beat Final Fantasy 1. One of my whole things I'm going to probably do in the background is like beat every single Final Fantasy game. Solely because I kind of want to experience what every single Final Fantasy game has to offer. Well, not every single one, just the ones that are on the Switch, because that's just like... Yeah, this is what I was saying. Already got some better gear for Cecil already. Actually, was there a... Yeah, there was. There's actually a shield in there, which is something that Cecil can now... I actually can't remember if you could equip shields before, but... Maybe you couldn't and just be stupid, but... I'm tempted to go back in that shop because I think I missed something then, but... Let's talk to the Elder, who's quite impressed that we actually did beat the trial at Mount Ordeals, and he actually sent the twins to actually spy on us because he was kind of slightly distrustful of us. Understandable, because we did kind of blow up his entire village before, but well, not his village, but like yeah, you get what I mean, the stuff that happened at the start of the series. But he is actually kind of impressed that we're no longer a Dark Knight, now an actual paladin. And he's actually impressed that we actually got the sword inscribed with the Mysidian legend. Now, one thing I'm actually going to mention before reading this out is that the Mysidian legend is actually different in the DS version, and I'll actually mention part of what I can remember of that after this thing. Yeah, but one born of a dragon bearing darkness and light will rise to the heavens over the still land. The moon's light eternal will promise the earth with bounty and grace. In the DS version, it actually says, "Birth from the womb of Dragon's Maw and born upon the stars. With light and darkness cast aloft, our dreamtide oaths resworn." Something like that, anyway. It is like a very, more, I guess, Shakespearean way of putting it. But it leads a lot to interpretation that way. And there is an event in the game that kind of explains some of it. I'll actually... later on in the series, I'll probably mention it whenever it crops up. But the thing there, the Elder is actually saying, "Oh wow, you learnt Meteor, and wow, you actually know of Teller," and stuff like that. Teller's kind of explaining to the Elder that he lost his daughter and that. And they're just kind of having a bit of banter, and it's kind of fun to see these two old guys have banter over stuff like that. I don't know why, it's just kind of... It's really elaborates on that these characters know each other. Actually, there is something that I just completely forgot to mention, but the actual design of Paladin Cecil is actually different in the DS version. Whereas in this one, he's kind of wearing a full gold armour, and he has kind of a crown that he's wearing. In the DS version, he actually wears a silver and blue armour and has this metal head guard. And he actually has whitish... It's a kind of a whitish hair that he has, with a slight, almost yellow tint to it. Also, for some unexplainable reason whatsoever, he also has completely blue lips, as if he'd been in the cold for too long. But we're gonna give these kids some wizard hats. and that's kind of upgraded our lair gear. But with everything that's been done on Mount Ordeals today, I'm going to sign off for this episode. So if you like this episode, don't forget to comment, like, rate and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!